Hello chess family, it's me National Master Jesse James, and it's time for another installment of how to play the Colle. Now we're taking a look at this from the white side, but we will go over black's ideas so we can try to stop them, and also know their best defenses whenever they do play it. Alright, as you can see, this is a very nice position that happened in the game. Not only will white get very good attacking chances, but they can do a very good job on controlling the center and even attacking on the queen side. Every good chess game starts at the beginning, so let's get to it. Here we go. We start off with pawn to d4, and black plays knight f6. Oh, a quick note. In this game, white went ahead and got 3 double exclams, so feel free to try and find them during the game. Knight f6, the master move. Here we go, knight to f3. Remember, white is trying to control this e5 square as best as possible. That's why with the first 2 moves, they go ahead and play there. Black plays pawn to e6 here, and pawn to e3. Now we are in our Colle. And remember, our Colle pawn structure is going to be f2, e3, d4, c3, and b2 here. So we got this nice little pyramid. Black goes ahead and plays pawn to d5. And here, as a Colle player, I'm very happy to see this. At this point, you might as well blindfold me, and I'm going to be able to crank out like the next 10 to 15 moves here almost by memory. And for some of you guys, I might be even be able to checkmate you too, as there's lots of different traps in this opening. All right, it's white's turn. What do you do now? Here, well, let's get our light square bishop out. Where's the best square? D3, of course. Remember, attack the h7 square. This also helps prepare pawn to e4. And here, black plays the best move, which we have not seen so far, which is pawn to c5. Against d4, the faster you get pawn to c5 in, the faster you can try to achieve equality in the position. And this is definitely true for the Colle system too. At c5 here, we are threatening to go ahead and try and open up the center. Now, I'm not saying take right away. In fact, this would be actually very bad. Our bishop that is bad right here can actually become good. For instance, let's just say white plays the simple move of pawn to c3, which is pretty much automatic right here. You know, when they play pawn c5, you need to play pawn c3, so the bishop can retreat back to. But if you take right away after c takes, this time we do not go by the old adage, take back toward the center, you play e takes. And this makes a lot of sense because look, it opens up the bishop. My once bad bishop is now a very good bishop. So be very careful. You need to be able to take where they have to take back with the c pawn, and that will make you a good position here for black. So after black plays pawn c5, white plays pawn c3 right away. You do have to be careful. If you didn't have the pawn on c3, then the bishop wouldn't be able to run backwards after c4 here, which can definitely add problems to white. The bishop on e2 doesn't do too much work. And here, black keeps playing a good game. Knight b to d7. I like the knight here. The knight can also go to c6 here too, but I like the knight here on d7. And black is going to prepare with b6, bishop b7, hopefully later on. And here, well, knight b to d2. Where else does the knight go? The pawn is in the way over here, right? And now black plays another move, which I'm very proud of. He plays bishop d6. Remember, we said e5 is the square that we're trying to fight over in this opening. And so with this move, bishop d6, black is fighting over it. A lot of times, black will play bishop b7 and give white a very easy game. Okay, here we go. White goes ahead and castles. Black goes ahead and castles. The game looks about equal here. And it's true, the game is about equal here. It's white's move. Let's keep developing pieces. Let's keep making threats. Rook over to e1 gets played. A nice move here. Remember, a lot of times what we're trying to do here is prepare pawn to e4. Why do you want to get pawn e4 in? Well, the faster we get pawn e4 in, we're going to be able to open up the bishop over here. A lot of times, black will be able to force you, as the white player, to get isolated pawn. If you are afraid of isolated pawn, then go ahead and watch some of my videos. You should be very happy to play with isolated pawn. Isolated pawn gives you great attacking chances, and some of the best positional players, such as Karpov, love to play with either side. Because it's a very simple plan. When you have isolated pawn, you attack. When you're against it, make trades and go down to a winning endgame. Either way, you should not fear to play the isolated pawn, especially if you're going to be playing the Colle system. All right, enough of that. Here, black plays a move which is not too good, queen c7. Now, why is this not a good move here? Well, if you can think about it, later on, we'd love to bring our rook over here to c1 and attack the queen. And unfortunately, the knight's not in front anymore. So this is actually going to play very, very poorly for black right here. Okay, now it's white to move. What do you play in this situation? If you're a Colle player, you should know this already. What do we play here? Here we get to play pawn to e4. It is now time here to play e4, and black is all but forced to go ahead and take here. If they don't, we're going to play pawn to e5 here, and e5 is just going to be crushing because, well, first off, we're winning a piece, but remember, it's going to open up the bishop and this bishop, and white is just very happy in these ones. Now, black here did play a good idea, but unfortunately, because of the misplacement of the queen, black just gets crushed very badly later on in the game. So black goes ahead and tries to fix the pawn structure. C takes on d4, a good move. Here, black is going to force the isolated pawn against white. So now, if he is able to stop or repel the attack, he goes into endgame, he'll have very good chances on winning. White has really no other good move. They must take back with the pawn. Pawn takes, and now they take on e4, giving white the isolated pawn. Remember, do not fear this. Here we go. Let's continue with the idea. Knight takes on e4 here. We don't want to lose our bishop. And here, black plays a good move, a pawn b6. Now, if you take on e4, you're only helping white out. Either rook takes on e4 or bishop takes e4 is going to be a good move. So b6 is definitely the right idea here because it's going to let the light square bishop out. If black had one more extra tempo in this position or one more move, he definitely would have had a good position. It's white's turn. Which piece are you looking at moving right now? Hopefully, you're saying, we need to move this bishop. The bishop needs to be moved. Why? Well, when you move this bishop out, you're going to be able to make a threat. But also, remember, we want to get the rook over to c1 right here. So this is a nice in-between move. Where is the best square for the bishop to move to? Simple chess, bishop g5. Here we have a simple threat. We want to take on f6 and give him double pawns. Double pawns against this king with all our pieces looking that way. That's just going to be a fun game. So here, black makes the mistake and plays. Knight takes on e4 here. Now, this is a very natural move. Whenever they attack, you attack back. It is now white's turn. What do you play here? What is the best move? Shall we play bishop takes or rook takes right here? All right, if you haven't already, go ahead and give us that like and subscribe. Remember, liking is going to share this with more chess players. All right, what do you play here? Here we get to play rook takes on e4. I know someone's saying bishop takes looks good because you get a free tempo by attacking the rook. But here, black is actually okay because black can make some trades. He'll play bishop b7. You'll get to play rook c1. I know you want to. But after queen b8, you realize, well, most likely these bishops are just going to trade here. And if you move it out the way, well, then the bishop just takes the diagonal by themselves. In fact, you'll lose a pawn there too. So here, well, definitely not the best way to play. Here, we actually played the nice idea of rook takes on e4. And here you're probably saying, well, doesn't black just play bishop b7 to attack the rook? That's exactly what we want. What do you play here? I know someone's moving this rook, and that's already wrong. Here, develop with a threat. Here we get to play rook c1 to attack the queen. Black will go ahead and play queen back to b8. And now, ask yourself, where is the best place for this rook? Here, the best place is to continue the attack we play. Rook over to h4, and here we see the h7 pawn is fatally weak here. Either way, white is going to be creating some counterplay in this game now. In the game, black is just going to be very, very bad off. In the game, black plays his only good try, which is g6. Now we see the dark squares are weak around the king. In fact, it's going to get a little bit worse, especially on the queen side. But here I do want to point out, if black had tried to play h6, what do you play here? Well, if you saw the last video, this is not a hard idea at all. You sacrifice on h6. Of course, we're going to open up this king. And after pawn takes, here there's many moves to play. I like to play queen d2 here. A lot of people here might try rook takes on h6. Remember, the rook's not going to be checkmating here. It's the queen. So here we look for a free tempo, queen d2 with queen takes on h6, and white's going to be winning pretty soon over here. And black really is just going to have to sacrifice just to get into a losing position. So back to the game. Black played their only move that they could think of, which was pawn to g6. And now white had a very surprising move here. Now you can try to crush through on the king side, but believe it or not, the move is a far simpler idea here. White to move. What do you play here? Here you get to play bishop to b5. And you're saying, well, what's this do? It just attacks the knight. And after you look at it for a little bit longer, you realize, dear Lord, how is the knight trapped in the middle of the board? e5, c5 are the only squares that it can really move to, and the pawns capture over here. And if you go to f6, well, then we'll just take on f6 here too. Black played a terrible move here with queen to e8. The only move that they can really think of. White's controlling over in the center, on the queen side, on the king side. Dear Lord, black is just in a very bad position here. And, well, here we see a pin. And what do you do at pin pieces? You add pressure. And here, white did not disappoint. Knight to e5 got played. A beautiful move here, putting pressure on the knight. And here, there's really no good way to defend this. In the game, black played bishop c8, which is a blunder. But again, there was really no good move here. If you go ahead and try to take on e5, well, that's great. I'll just take back with a d pawn. And now my queen is attacking, and my rook can slide over here too. And this is, again, a fatal pin here for black. So black tried bishop c8, and now we're up for our first double exclam in the game. What do you play here to win material? All right, hopefully you push pause, try to figure it out. What do you play here to win? Here you get to play rook takes on c8, removing the defender. Black has nothing better. Queen takes on c8. Yes, if you have played rook takes, it's not even as bad as the fork. The queen is actually trapped here too. So of course, queen had to take on c8. And how do you take back here? Remember, always take by making threats. Bishop takes on d7, attacking the queen. Here the queen went to c7. The idea, very simple. I want to try to take on e5 so that I can put pressure and win this bishop on d7. And here, the second double exclam of the game. Here, white makes a move that, well, I think not many people would see. Can you find the move? All right, hopefully you tried to find it here. You get to play the second double exclam of the game. Knight to g4 here, and this threatens checkmate and also defends the bishop over here on d7. Notice here, if you take on d7, it's winning the queen is nice, but checkmate's even better. Here we get to do what's called the Arabian mate. Knight to f6 check, forking the queen and the king. The king goes to g7, it goes to h8. It does not matter here. Taking a queen is good, but checkmate is even better. So a very nice move here with this knight to g4. Black tried to fight back the best they could. Pawn to h5 got played. Knight f6 check, of course, attacking the king. The king went to g7, and now it is actually a forced checkmate in 7, which, well, white was able to find. White to move. What do you play to crush through on the king side and attack this king? It's time for our last double exclam of the game. All right, here we go. White got to play it. Knight takes on h5, opening up the king. Dear Lord, the only thing stopping the pieces from running through were the pawns. So simple idea, get rid of them. If you don't take back, you're just losing. So pawn takes, and we take back with the queen. And here, this queen, rook, and bishop duo are just game over. Any way that you try to defend here, it's just going to be losing. In the game, black went ahead and tried rook over to h8. And here is a simple checkmate in 3 here, which was found, I'm sure, without too much problems. Feel free to push pause and try and problem solve again. But here we simply just play bishop to h6 check, and here black resigns. I'll go ahead and show you guys just so you guys know. Here, I guess if the rook takes, we'll just do a simple checkmate in 2. Queen takes, king g8, queen h8 is checkmate. Let's see, what's the other variations? Here the king can either go to g8 or to h7, but again losing. King to h7, and here you get to play the very nice move of queen takes on f7 checkmate. I know you guys were looking at other moves. And here, of course, if king to g8, simple chess, the queen just has to get to g7 for checkmate. So we go queen g5 check, king h7, and queen g7 for check and mate. Guys, remember, whenever you are playing this Colle system, remember, go ahead and prepare the pawn to e4. Black definitely had very good ideas with playing pawn c5. That should be added to your toolkit if you are defending, or even if you're playing against it, just know that this is one of the best ways to play. Prepare pawn to e4 as soon as possible. And don't forget, do not fear going into isolated pawn. You should welcome this as a true Colle player. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video.